high-quality food. No eggs.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ascension Board of Adjustments now called to order. My name is James Cecil, Chairman. At this time, go ahead and have the oath of office for Mr. David LeBlanc.
Mr. LeBlanc, would you please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to follow the rules and regulations for the Ascension Parish Board of Adjustments, the ordinances of this parish, and the laws of the state? I do.
Congratulations, sir. For what? No, go ahead. Roll call of members right now. Mr. Brad Walker.
Here.
Miss Kathy Desideer.
Here.
Mr. Howard Dalton.
Here.
Mr. Bryce Cox.
Here.
And Mr. David LeBlanc.
Here.
Got you back. At this particular point in time, I'm going to go ahead and open up public comment period. And what this is, if you're here tonight to voice an opinion, whether for or against an issue that's on the agenda, now's not the time to do it. What this is a time set aside for you to tell how bad a job we're doing or how good a job we're doing, and or if you have some helpful suggestions that this parish needs to hear, your voice will be heard, and we will transfer that to the persons responsible for those actions. Anybody? Okay. At this time, we're going to go ahead and have the acceptance of the August 22nd of 2006 meeting.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes. However, there's one correction that June may not have on the item agenda I for zoning review 1566.06.
Could you get up to your microphone a little bit more? Thank you,
I'm
sir.
sorry. For item agenda, on the minutes, there was a correction for the item agenda I, review 1566.06. You had me as absent on that. It's the only one you had me absent on, Ms. June.
How'd you vote?
I don't remember. Hang on, I got to read it. I voted yay with everybody else, the majority. So I do need to make that correction. Other than that, I'll make a motion the minutes be accepted with that one correction.
Second.
Any opposition? So carried. Next on the agenda is the acceptance of the written decision for August 22 of 2006.
I can also make a motion that we accept the written decisions.
Second.
Any opposition? So moved. First on the agenda tonight is 1580.06, Lot 79, Meadow Ridge subdivision for Wheat Construction Company. It's located on the west side of Karen Drive, approximately 170 feet south of Meadow Ridge Avenue.
Motion up for public hearing?
Second.
Anybody here for the wheat construction? Have you signed in, sir? No, come on. Oh. Oh, you just want an agenda, okay.
Hey, you can have one.
You can have one. They're free tonight. Do we have anybody here from wheat construction? This does not look good for the home team.
Should we table it to the end?
Let's go ahead and table it to the end.
Motion
And-
table it to the end of the meeting?
And okay, we got a motion to table to the end of the meeting. Any opposition? All right, so moved. Next on the agenda is 1581, Track A, Green Bayou subdivision for Carl J. Keller. It's located on the southeast corner of LA Highway 74 and Deck Boulevard. Come up, sir. Is the sign-in sheet, Ms. June, the sign-in sheet's over here? Okay. Sign in. As you approach the podium, sir, please state your name and go ahead and state your case.
Good evening, folks. My name is Carl Keller, and basically what I'm trying to do with Track A is provide housing for 3 families. I want to put 3 mobile homes on Track A.
Okay, go ahead, open up.
Motion to open public hearing?
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Does any board member have any questions about this request on variance? Everybody understands it and needs to ask questions? Okay, and we'll go ahead and go to the public. Anyone in the audience like to speak in favor of or against this gentleman's request? No one? Close public hearing, please.
Motion to close public hearing?
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Any board member have any further questions?
Sir, are these families you're trying to provide a place to live? Is this family, or are you just subdividing this land to put trailers on it?
Well, what I do is I put new mobile homes on these properties, and I rent them out to families.
Any further questions?
Deck Boulevard, this is just a continuation of a regular trailer park toward the end, right? Right after these 3 is another mobile home lots.
Correct. It's 86 lots altogether in this mobile home subdivision.
Most of the lots are all 50-foot wide.
That's correct. And these,
You're going to divide Track A into lots that are 50-foot or wider?
correct, they'll be about 67 feet wide.
Okay.
Anybody else have any?
Well, now I'm confused. According to this applicant, I was thinking you were going to divide it down into 23 feet frontage lots. Is that correct or incorrect?
That's incorrect.
That's incorrect?
They're going to be a little over 60 feet of frontage each. The Track A is 180 feet deep.
You're going to be fronting them to Dak Boulevard, correct?
Right.
Okay.
I think they had the variance at 23 feet. Wouldn't it?
That's correct. It's going to be 23 feet. It's going to be the variance that
The
he's
variance
requesting.
part of it.
Right.
Okay.
You'll have whatever the remainder is, which is
It won't be 23.
six-
Right.
67 feet.
Right.
Right.
Okay, thanks for clearing that up.
We have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve this variance. It's within the harmony of the surrounding area. Further, it just conforms to the remaining of the lots behind it. I mean, yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second for approval of the variance. Any opposition? So moved. Variance is granted, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Next on the agenda tonight is 1582.06, Lot 9, Cypress Grove Estates, located on the north side of Marina Drive, approximately 1,100 feet east of Manning Gotro Road. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening. My name is Ronald Valley. I own the subdivision. We are selling lots. It's a 13-lot development. This was a development that was recorded prior to '93. And if you're looking at a map, they show a 2-acre lot in the back that was set aside by the original developer to do something commercial back there. And I'm just asking a variance to cut a lot off of that 2-acre lot, and rather have one 2-acre lot, have two. One lot would be at half an acre, the other lot would be an acre and a half. I have letters from the homeowner next to the property that they own lot 10 that are in favor of me doing that because they want to buy that lot for their son.
You said you have the letter with you,
Yes.
sir? Are you willing to submit that letter?
Sure.
The lot that you're creating, that's the same size as lot 10 and 11? The same width?
Actually, a little bit larger.
A little bit larger?
Okay, sir.
I have more than one property.
This is good. I mean, this
It's about
is
a pencil
original.
foot
I'd rather
longer.
have a copy. I'll let you keep the
wider, I
original,
should
just in
say.
case there's issues.
Your home is on 9, what you're proposing to be 9B?
Yes,
The
ma'am.
drawing, that's an existing residence, correct?
No, that's actually a trailer that will be moved out of there. That's a portable trailer that was set up to rent out by the weekend, but that will be moved. That's not a permanent residence. That's a little 12 by 44-foot trailer.
Okay.
That's a letter. Authenticity it is notarized.
Just, you mentioned that this was in what year was this originally,
I think it was prior to June of '93, I think.
Okay, so it was.
Spring of '93.
Prior to zoning and Lance, okay. Thank you.
All right, go ahead and open up public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Not to cut the board off, but let me go ahead and take this to the public and we'll get that out of the way. Is anybody in the audience tonight like to speak in favor of or against this gentleman's request? Nope. Close it.
Motion to close public hearing?
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Any further discussion by the board or any questions that need to be asked of this gentleman? If not, then I'm looking for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that this be approved. It's harmonious with the land use around it and the lots adjacent to it. Will have no adverse impact and has no negative effects that I can see.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor now to accept the variances as written. Any opposition? No opposition. Motion carries. Variance is granted, sir.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda tonight, 1583.06, Track A1, Calvin Broussard Estates. And let me turn the page. Located on the southeast corner of LA Highway 22 and Galaxy Boulevard.
Motion to open public hearing?
I don't have that in my packet.
Do we, Mr. June, do we have a, thank you, ma'am. Sign in, please, and state your name once you reach the podium.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, would you state which one we're looking at again, please? Which one we covered?
That 1583.06.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Everybody's got the proper paperwork? Mr. David?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, ma'am. State your name and go ahead. Now, I did not call you ma'am.
That's all right. My name is Charles Crosby, and I am the.
Speak into the microphone so I can hear you.
My name is Charles Crosby, and I'm one of the ones who are asking for this variance in the ordinance and density clause. Aurelia Elder is the owner of the property, and what we're asking is, at the time when I received permission, given the opportunity to put a mobile home on that site, we were not aware that there was a density clause pertaining to it. When we found it out, everything just stopped until this hearing tonight. All we're asking is we want to put a third trailer there. The lot is big enough for 3 trailers. And it's like, for us, this is the last resort, because last year Katrina was here. We got shipped to Texas and back, and that's all we're just asking, that would be granted.
Now, this is for a family member.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
It's not to be a trailer to be rented.
No, it's all family dwelling.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get that question out of the way. Go ahead, open public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Anybody like to speak in favor of, against these gentlemen and ladies' requests? Close public hearing, please.
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Any questions by the board members?
sir? Is this, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You said that the lot is large enough to accommodate 3 trailers. So, Lance, you've already, have we seen the positions of the mobile homes on this lot? Is the lot large enough to accommodate all 3 mobile homes? Do we know anything?
No, ma'am. I know that there are one mobile home on it already, existing. There's another one that may be placed at this time, and the third one, I think that's what they're waiting on, if I'm not mistaken. But no, I do not know. I'm going out there. No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have anything that shows where the mobile homes are on the lot?
No, we didn't get the opportunity to take the pictures to show you actually where they're placed. But the footage that I stepped off for each mobile home, it's ample footage. There's clearance for electrical, sewer, water, that it'd be crossing neither one of the other trailers at all.
And we do have we got a trailer on there, and I put the slab for my trailer. And my brother-in-law and my sister, they from New Orleans in the lower 9th Ward. They was renting a house, and that's destroyed. They can't go back. So I didn't know nothing but the zoning and stuff. So I just told them, that the lot was big enough so they can put their trailer on there. Their trailer's already on there. My daughter's trailer on there. And I put the big old slab for move my trailer on there too. And the slab is there. So it's big enough. It's real big. We got so much space. And there ain't gonna be no problem.
If needed, or if it was open to a trailer park, you could still put 2 trailers besides the 3 that we have on there already.
What's currently on lot A2, like next door to you? Is there a house?
Nothing. It's a vacant.
It's vacant.
It's a vacant lot.
Are you the owners of that lot?
Yeah,
Yes.
A2?
yeah.
No, not A2. If A2 is the one we're speaking in question of about the mobile homes, yes.
Okay, it says lot A1 is what y'all own right now.
Right, that's what
And I
we
was just
own.
wondering what was next door.
There's nothing there next door on that lot at all.
Empty lot.
It's an empty lot.
Any further questions from the board? Any discussion? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I know we have a policy where we limit this to the immediate family member. However, this is a family member, though it's not the immediate, and it is Katrina-related. So therefore, my position is I think we should step forth here and offer some leniency. So my motion is that this be approved as written with the strict proviso that it's for this family member to live in and cannot be turned into a rental property or anything like that. When she leaves, the trailer has to go.
All right. That's fine.
I'd be willing to second that, but I also want to make sure that you understand that there are other restrictions, and you may want to check with other people before you actually move 3 mobile homes on here to make sure that Energy and all these other people are going to approve this.
Did we talk to
But
them?
when we filed the papers, we got the papers to file for the hearing on this, we had already,
They had to have a permit
Okay.
from us.
we had to have permits,
In order to
and
get
they would not issue
electricity
the
and sewer.
permits unless we came before the hearing here.
The permit comes from the office, and then,
But I just want to make sure that there wasn't something else out there that.
okay, so you're
I'm
you're
seconding.
seconding it? Okay, we have a motion to accept as written, and we also have a second. Any opposition? No opposition? And so moved. Variance is granted, sir.
Thank you.
y'all. God bless y'all.
Next on the agenda tonight is 1584.06, Lot 1, Hebert Flapcher Senior, located on the southeast corner of LA 73 and Highway 74. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, my name is Peter Ahmet. I represent the proposed developer. We are asking for a variance of the existing square footage requirement for this lot in question. It is zoned correctly as Crossroads Commercial for a drugstore, a full-service drugstore. The requirement is a restriction against square footage. Allowed is 10,000 square feet. We are asking at this time for 14,490 square feet. It's very similar to one I believe this board granted across the street to the grocery store a little over a year ago. We have made lots of investigations and asked a lot of questions on things that may concern the residents and people on this body, and have a lot of answers with regards to saving the trees in the area, which are very important to the community, and also to landscape requirements and buffers and fire protection. I would be more happy to answer any questions or go into any of these items as needed.
Go ahead, Mr. Bragg.
Where'd the 14,000 square foot come from? Like, what's the difference? Like, why do y'all need the additional 4,000?
Good question. As a national retailer, Walgreens knows the mix of products that the community needs or desires or wants, and as you probably know, they not only sell drugs, but it's also a photo lab. You can buy food, makeup, seasonal items for Halloween and such, and then small electronics and things. And that's just the square footage that they need to put all the products that a community needs within that.
Any further questions by the board before I go to public? Go ahead and open public hearing, please.
So moved.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Anybody in the audience like to speak in favor of or against this gentleman's request? State your name, ma'am, please.
Excuse me. Hi, my name is Laurie Richard. I serve on the board of directors at Old Mill Subdivision. Our subdivision backs up to the property that has been mentioned. We as a board have several concerns about this that I would hope could be addressed. One involves the lighting and the noise that a business there would bring. An additional square footage building would bring, I would believe, more lighting and more noise. The drive-through, according to the design, will back up to our subdivision. So you would have the noise of the drive-through and the lights of the people turning, and also all the lighting that'll go with that business, and the noises of the car. Another one of our concerns is the sewer system. The developer has approached the subdivision to tie into this existing sewer system of Old Mill. Currently, our system is unable to handle our load that we have. At any given time, you can go back to the back and you can smell our sewer system, and it also historically has backed into our streets. So we believe any additional load on our system would cause more problems to us. The trees are a major concern to us also. We have gone through the process of registering them with the Live Oak Society. While we have been reassured that not all of them will be cut, we also know that any concrete or any building that is sitting on the root system will cause damage, and perhaps in the end, those trees will have to be removed. Our last concern is of the design of the building. This is a neighborhood under the live oak trees. We would ask that it would be aesthetically pleasing to the neighborhood and that area, and that it would go with the ambiance. We have reservations about this building, but if the variance is to be approved, we request that our concerns for the lights and noise, the sewer, the trees, and the building's design would be addressed.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, before you sit down, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
And apologize.
Okay.
I'm really unclear whether you're in favor, for, or against.
Quite honestly, at this point, we're against it because we think that this is going to cause more issues into an area that's already, I mean, we are served by a drugstore, quite honestly, and it's a terrible intersection, and putting something there, we have houses all along there that are going to be affected by this.
Okay, so, but in your statement, you also said that if he addressed these issues, it would be acceptable?
If we have no other choice, yes.
Oh, okay, now, thank you.
Okay.
Next, Ms. June? He's here already.
Yes, signed in.
Go ahead,
Good
state your
evening.
name for yourself.
My name is Rick Munch. My property will back up onto the land that is proposed for development. And what my question is what effect will the additional 4,000 feet have on the parking areas? Making this building larger, obviously, they get more dollars per square foot, and it increases their profits. The concern that I have is going to be the parking that would be absolved by this additional 4,000 feet, and was wondering if there was going to be any problems with that. I'm not that familiar with the requirements in parking area for a building of this size. I go along with my homeowners association. It's obvious that they've done a lot in making this proposal, and it looks like it's going down the right track. If we have no other choice, and it will go through as a Walgreens, whether or not he gets this variance, we would also like to have our concerns addressed and possibly make some concession by the developer.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mr. Munch, before you
Yeah, no,
step down,
sir,
Mr. Munch,
before you step
excuse
down.
me. Let me just ask you a
Have a
question,
question.
Mr. Munch. Has the developer, you said your property backs up to this
Yes, it
development, to
does.
this piece of property? Has the developer contacted you or tried to
Yes,
talk
he has.
to the perimeter
We
people?
have met personally,
Okay.
and I am one of the property that he proposes to do a directional bore from the property in the back to the into the parish sewer system, and he has asked my permission to cross my property with this bore, and I have not given him a decision one way or the other.
Okay.
But his comments were, well, if he can't do the bore and tie into the parish sewer system, then they would have to go with a private sewer treatment system for the property.
Yes, sir.
I personally would rather have him tie into the parish sewer system, where it would be properly maintained by the parish, as opposed to it being a private system on private property that could not be regulated or maintained easily.
So you're saying to tie into that public sewer system, they would have to do some directional boring underneath your property?
Yeah, he has to cross a corner of my property, not by much, by about 3 or 4 feet.
Okay.
That's a
Okay.
request.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see if he had met with them.
Yeah,
since he
I have
his
met with
property
him.
was since your property was next to the proposed development, I wanted to make sure that they had spoken to you or whatever.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, please. Have you signed in, sir?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
My name is John Davis. I'm a property owner adjacent, part owner of the pharmacy, Dutchtown Pharmacy we opened up 1st of May. I was active in the negotiation for that lot that we bought, that acre, where we subsequently built. The seller and the real estate agent indicated to me that that treed area that's in question here was going to be left as a park, that it was part of the old mill. That's what I was led to believe. Now, I know Walgreens. They've been our competition for many, many years, and we have survived quite well right underneath, across the street. In fact, I own a Walgreens lease, and with a pharmacy next to it, and have survived. But that's not the point. I love the competition. I think they would be actually good. But it's the location that I object to. I'm also a landowner growing trees for timber, number of acres in Mississippi. I know how we can replace certain species of trees. Some species, though, for instance, live oaks, aren't easy to replace, especially those trees. They withstand hurricanes extremely well. They're not going to be snapped in half. The visibility of this Walgreens is going to be extremely important. It's also been said to me by the real estate agent promoting the sale, that, hey, what happens to those trees after we get our concrete down is it's nature's problem. I beg you, think about the heritage of that land before you make a bigger mistake. I mean, I'm 10,000 is one size, 14,000, nearly 15,000 is quite another size. I understand, I don't know for a fact, that the grocery store going across the street had to make some adjustments because of trees. I know we made adjustments in our plan because of the one lone oak tree, and we're doing everything in our power to save it. The highway came in, disturbed the roots. I've made sure that they cordoned off that tree during our construction process and made sure no added dirt was placed on top of those roots. I wish you would consider these problems with the store. You may not be able to prevent, but in making it any worse than what it is, I wish you would certainly consider it. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir. Can I ask you one question?
Yes,
what
sir.
square footage is your pharmacy across the street?
It's about 5,500 square feet.
Ms. June, anybody else?
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to give you about 3 minutes of rebuttal. About 5 minutes of rebuttal. I usually give everybody 3 minutes to discuss, and then I give your 5-minute rebuttal. Go ahead, sir. State your name.
My name is Gary Lewis, gentlemen and ma'am. I'm a real estate agent out of Baton Rouge. I've been involved in all the 2 sales that have occurred at the corner of 73 and 74, representing the sellers on both accounts. I represented the family where they sold to the grocery store for the 14 or 20,000 square foot that's going there. I also sold to Mr. Davis, although I never met Mr. Davis until the act of sale. I dispute his comments in reference to what he said about the real estate agents in reference to the concrete. I represent this sale as well for Ms. Crabapple Properties for this property. And what I've been doing is bringing to that corridor the things that the community, the doors I knocked on and spoke to, asked, like a grocery store, which got the variance from you, and again, this drugstore. But never in any conversation did I, representing the sellers, ever say anything detrimental about let them pour concrete about the trees. I think the state of Louisiana has done more damage to those trees when they widen the road than Walgreens will do with the protective actions that are involved in the act of sale. Is how Walgreens needs to protect those trees for life and how they're preserving them and how they're marked right now against any kind of construction. I just want to set the word straight. There was no detrimental comments about those trees. We tried to save them. I was one of the ones who made certain the tree was safe from Mr. Davis's property bought from us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions
Yeah,
by the board member?
I have a question. You said that in the act of sale, there was something put in place to protect those trees.
There is
Can you
major
share
li-
with us what was put in place in this act of sale to save those trees?
I feel confident that Peter has that information with him. I did not bring that contract with me.
Okay.
But there was specific lengthy language in that the seller himself made certain was inserted into the language of the contract about the preservation of those trees, the care of arborists of those trees, and how they can be maintained. And we worked diligently with the buyers on that property to preserve as many trees on that property as we could to keep the ambience of the area. They are very important to the seller and to the neighborhood. We agree with that.
Good. Well, hopefully he can share that with us. So.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any further questions? No one else in the audience speaking against or for the gentleman's request? Okay, sir, I'm going to give you 5 minutes for rebuttal, please.
I'd be more than happy to address these issues. I know they're very important to the people who live in the area. As far as drainage and sewage is concerned, we've hired Mr. Wayne Sledge with GW's Engineering. He did all the engineering for Old Mill and for most of the surrounding properties that Mr. Fetzer developed. I've been told there's adequate capacity within the sewage and the water system to handle such development, and they were planned with these commercial tracts in mind. Second thing is, let's go ahead and talk about the space in between. There's a 20-foot landscape buffer required between the proposed development and the subdivision. As you can probably see in that site plan, we're not only going to adhere to that, but also we're going to add more in most of the locations. So in areas it'll be anywhere from 20 to 35 feet, highly densely landscaped, and we're leaving all the existing trees that are alive. There's a dead pine tree we're going to have to take out, but we're going to leave all those back there to keep that buffer and add to that. As far as trees are concerned, this is from the purchase agreement. You want me to read it? Would that be okay? Or just paraphrase
That's fine,
it?
sir. It's your rebuttal.
Basically, it says, the purchaser agrees that the site plan and elevation shall conform with the design. The purchaser and the seller are interested in the preservation of trees, the well-being of the trees situation on the property, preserved trees. Purchaser agrees to preserve the preserved trees and shall be prohibited from the removal of the preserved trees. Prior to the issuance of certificate of occupancy, purchaser shall only have such to become a hazard to the improvement of the property shall be able to be removed. As successors, customers assigned. Purchaser may remove any preserved trees which, in reasonable judgment condition, may have become a hazard to the improvements or violate any ordinance. Here's what I'm trying to say. We have hired a landscape contractor / arborist, a man named Jim Culpepper, retired from the state. Walked the site with him for 2 hours on Friday. He made several points. He's preparing a report for us to do certain things. One thing is, as was alluded to, DOTD really hampered the trees, especially on 73. He looks at this as an opportunity to bring some of those trees back into a healthy condition. You can look at the 2 trees on 73, the first 2 trees, and just by looking at the canopy, he said those trees, they don't know it, but they may be dead already. 5 to 7 years, they may be gone. This is an opportunity to augment those trees and try to bring them back in such a condition where they'll be healthy. Other things which we are working with him on, alternative paving methods. Brickcrete are things that allow not only earth, water, and air down into the soil to prevent some of this compaction that they were talking about. Also, sinking rods of PVC with perforations in them, put a cap on them, set forth on 6 or 8 foot centers within the area to let the air go down and percolate in there. Fertilization, selective pruning of all the trees, get rid of dead wood. Alternative construction methods, so when trucks and tractors come in there to do construction, they do it on a safe manner, not to damage the roots of these trees. And also design considerations. As you see from the site plan, we have come off with our parking back from the property lines. We've allowed spaces for the trees. In our opinion, the value of this property is greater with the trees or without. There is no ordinance within the parish right now to save these trees, but we want to do so because we realize that they're important to the community, and we feel like it will be a much better place for people to shop if they have the shade, if they have the trees, and they're healthy and they stay a long time. Believe me, we don't want to have to remove these trees after we put the store in because it's money, it's cost, and it's just bad public faith. So we're doing everything we can to save as many of these trees as possible, and part of the report which he's going to submit to us will show us how to position the building, will show us how to use different paving types and scenarios to not disturb the soil, to allow these trees to not only live through, but also live longer because of what we're trying to do here. So I'd be more than happy to answer any specific questions.
That's the same.
That's the same drawing that y'all have.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do have a specific question.
Yes, sir.
You obviously you have addressed the trees and the sewage, and I appreciate that. And there was another concern that they spoke of, and one of them was that the lighting and the noise because of the drive-through. And I can see by your map how you've positioned that to where it potentially could be the least affecting of the neighbors there. You said that buffer zone, the landscape buffer zone, was going to have a fence. Am I correct?
The fence currently exists. I believe it's a 6-foot-tall wooden fence that's already there. We're leaving the trees that are already in back of there. There's a lot of pine trees, and we're going to trim them, and get all the dead wood out of them. And then we're going to plant a lot of evergreen, thick, dense foliage to not only help with any noises which may occur, but also so people, have a nice buffer in between the areas. As far as lighting is concerned, on the building, it's canned lighting, which is shown downwards. Everything faces inwards. There's nothing that shines backwards out on the property. So this is all in an effort to, keep any of the negative impacts on the community as possible. The dumpsters, as you can see, and the loading area is not against the neighborhood. It's tucked around to the side of the building, so that won't interfere with the neighborhoods. And all that is enclosed, so there's no, hazards or anything to those people. I just want to, as a final statement, I mean, it is zoned correctly, and it's a good use for the area. Some of the other potential uses that are under 10,000 square feet that could come in without even coming to this board are a lot more harmful potentially than this one. And I think that not only Mr. Fetzer, who's the owner of the property, but the Walgreens are going to do every effort to make sure that all the people are satisfied with the development, because we want them to shop there, to be honest with you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any further questions for this gentleman?
Yes,
Go ahead, sir.
I have one. The lady that spoke for the neighborhood association said that they had had problems with the sewer system, and yet you said that you talked to the parish official and that there was no problem with the sewer system?
No. The initial design for that, which was done by the civil engineering firm, we initially looked at it, and there should be capacity within there. Mr. Fetzer himself looked into that, investigated that also. As you can see from the drawing, also there is tracks 1 and 2, which were during the design of the whole system planned, to have capacity within that system. I'm not, this is the first time I'm unaware of any problems or things they have with the actual sewer system itself.
Any further questions? Any comments? Any discussions needed?
I want to ask Lance something.
Go ahead, sir. Now's the time.
Lance, do you know, he said that he's unaware of any problems. Do you know of any problems with the sewage system that's out there in Old Mill?
No, sir. What it is that's not a parish sewer system.
Well,
We don't have
understand.
parish sewer systems. That's a privately owned sewer system.
Right.
But that would be through the state,
No,
licensed
he's
through the
already got the
state Board of Health.
Okay, but you don't know of any problems that have
We've already got the rebuttal.
that have arisen from that private sewer system that they have for Old Mill subdivision?
No, sir. I'm not aware of that.
Okay.
Sir, if you plan to speak on this, I've already done the rebuttal. Okay? That's the reason why I asked if anybody else had any other comments. Okay? He's already got his rebuttal in. I'm not going to go on doing rebuttal after rebuttal. So, apologize for that.
Well, Lance, let me ask you a question. Who owns that sewer system then? And can the residents of that subdivision say yay or nay, since a lot of times after subdivisions are developed, those properties are turned over to the neighborhood homeowner association? Who gets to say yay or nay?
It's just like the owner, well, like the owner, like he stated. What it is that it's licensed for X amount of, I guess, lots and whatever, and so that's permitted through the state. So to know that answer, I don't know. I do not know that answer. That
Go
is
ahead,
licensed to there, so I do not know.
This is a civil engineer that designed the system. He may want to say a few words to kind of clear up some of
Does
it.
anybody have any questions for the civil engineer?
I would like to know, how many houses is it supposed to handle, and what capacity does it have? What capacity is it right now, and are there further additions to Old Mill that are going to be added to it?
I cannot answer all of those questions. I will answer
Okay.
some of them and shed a little light onto the subject. This system is actually owned by Wastewater Treatment of Louisiana. It's a licensed public utility company, just like Energy is, just like Demco is, so forth. They have an operating permit issued by the state, which allows them to discharge water and treat water and so forth. They have to turn in periodical reports that meet certain standards and so forth. The amount of sewage discharge that this proposed project will generate is less than a house. Maybe 14,500 square feet. It doesn't generate any water. There's no washer and dryer. There's no dishwasher. All you have are the laboratories. And so in the scheme of things, with Old Mill being 200 plus lots, this is, one half of 1%. As far as the capacity, this actually has to be approved by the Board of Health before they can tie into it. Is Old Mill going to be expanded? No. The project, essentially, Old Mill is now surrounded by developed lots. So Old Mill's treatment plant either will be reviewed by the state, either they will allow this connection or it won't. But the reality of it is, it's such a small amount of discharge that, we can't fathom any reason they would deny. But Wastewater Treatment Louisiana owns it, operates it, is responsible for the permit. So I'll be glad to call them. It's the first time we heard there's a problem. But it's not the problem of the Homeowners Association. It's really not the problem of the parish. It's the problem of Wastewater Treatment Louisiana.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If this one landowner does not grant a servitude for the directional bore, would that effectively prevent them from hooking up to the subdivision treatment plant?
As tacky as it is, money can solve almost any problem. If that specific location does not work out, he could, worst case, put in a baby force main and go around the world to get to a discharge point. It would be better for everybody, but absolutely does it have to go there? Typically not. There's always alternatives, just no matter how much they cost.
Well, I understand that. I just wonder if there's any other route that they could get there.
There's really no sewer at that intersection, so the best way is go out the back because that is the closest line.
Was it investigated to put a small treatment plant there for the Walgreens and possibly the bank that's been discussed or was on one of these documents?
I personally wasn't in the loop for the sewer. I was tasked with confirming drainage. But as a reality, nobody wants these individual treatment plants. The ordinance, if you read it, anything more than 20 lots, you want a community-based system. So what they're trying to do is follow the intent of the ordinance, which is tie into a community system owned and operated by a utility company, not an individual, not Walgreens. For example, if they put in a Walgreens system, if something goes wrong, Walgreens got to fix it. It's a Walgreens problem, who outsources. This is a licensed utility company. If things go really bad, you can actually call the Public Service Commission and the Board of Health, and the cavalry will come at the state level. But it's always a secondary consideration to do on-site treatment. Nobody wants to do that.
Expand on your question, not
Certainly.
The exact same question. Didn't you state just a little while ago that if y'all could not do the directional boring and tie into that y'all had planned a small private pump station, sewage treatment plant, whatever?
We'd always talked about it if the opportunity did not let us enter the system, but for, like Mr. Sled said, for many reasons it's not favorable.
Right.
I mean, it's expensive and maintenance is an issue, and it takes up additional land, which would probably be behind the building or on the side of the building, and it's just, for many reasons, it's not the desired. But if push comes to shove, that's probably what we'd have to do.
All right, do we have any further questions for these gentlemen? Do we have any discussion between this board? Do we have a motion?
I mean, I'd make one comment. If some people around here that's been living around here for a long time remember the corner of 621 and Highway 73 used to be just as crowded with oak trees like this before. And the owner couldn't sell it because of all the oak trees on it. So now there is no oak tree on that lot.
You know where the Shell station is?
No, the blank lot.
Across from the Shell station.
That used to be just as many oak trees, just as big as this lot right here. And the owner could not sell it because nobody wants to take care of the oak trees. And so he cut them all down and had them stump grinded and removed. You do have a company here that's willing to put a lot of money into these oak trees. I know somebody that oak tree just, kind of lost half of it, and the cost of removing it is $4,000. Just to take it up and haul it off, about this size. So they're expensive to keep up. And I think the only, I necessarily don't like the size of the Walgreens. I'd like to see a smaller Walgreens, not necessarily a standard Walgreens. And look and feel maybe different, but I think they're the only ones that would actually take care of these trees for this lot. I mean, that's just my comment.
And to that end, I want to kind of expound on that comment that was part of my biggest concern is those trees, as you said, because the loss of those trees on 621 and 73 was kind of devastating to a lot of us that live in that area, because a lot of people think of 73 kind of like the Highland Road of Baton Rouge and the ambience and the beauty of it. And I think that, he has satisfied me that he's going to take care of those. My really only concern left that they have addressed is that if, you know. if-
They have addressed or haven't?
That they have addressed it, but I want to make sure that, you know, whatever happens here, if we do pass this, that, that no security or lighting or anything up there would actually shine into to the adjacent yards there. I know they've addressed it with the fence and the shrubbery and the trees and stuff as far as noise barriers. As far as the noise, I can't see it creating any more noise than what's already going to be coming down 73 from those plants every day back and forth, because I can tell you it backs up there, as you know, and there's a lot of road noise there. But I just want to make sure on the lighting end of it that we don't have a situation where we're shining lights all back into that neighborhood and stuff like that. So up on top of the building, if you had any security lighting and stuff, and you said that there are can lights that point down or whatever?
Correct.
So there's no plans to put any type of security lighting up there or anything that's going to shine out?
No, not at all. Not at all.
What are the hours? Like, how long would they stay on at night?
Standard 8 to 10.
And the lighting in the parking lot, to light the parking lot, or that's all low lighting also?
Yes, exactly.
And the drive-through, overhead speakers, or how are you going to handle the noise from the drive-through?
This, as you can see for the drive-through areas, there's a couple ways that they've done it in the past, and I talked briefly about this, is they have low-level, low-volume speakers like in most drive-throughs. They went for a little while to actual telephones, but we found out that they were spreading more germs from the next person coming up and talking over the telephone from the other
Keep them
person.
coming back to the drugstore.
Well, yeah, so although it got quiet for a while, you know, it did really serve the purpose because, you know, I think they had some pretty upset people with that scenario.
Any other further comments or questions? I'm looking for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we accept the variance as written. I think they've done a good job of satisfying, at least to my knowledge, they've satisfied all of the issues that the homeowners association was concerned about. I like the way the fact that it's written into the trees, that it's protected in the act of sale, and I think to be consistent with what we've done in the area, I think that I'll make a motion that we accept the motion, the variance.
As written?
Mm-hmm.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to accept as written. Do we have any opposition?
I'm not going to oppose it, but I'm going to encourage that maybe y'all try to have the homeowners association and some of the people in the neighborhood maybe at least give you some input as far as,
That's more than welcome.
you know, because they will be the ones most directly involved. And so I would just encourage that y'all do meet with them at least and talk to them to address some of their issues and see if y'all can't come to a happy meeting.
Now, sir, that's a comment. That's
Yeah,
not
that's
going to
a
be
comment.
in with your approval or disapproval. Okay,
I
sir?
have no problem doing that whatsoever.
All right. No opposition? So moved. Variance is granted as written, sir. Next on the agenda tonight, 1585, Lot 61, Prairie Oak subdivision, located on the south of Overland Trail, approximately 200 feet east of Prairie Oaks Lane.
Hello, hi.
Just a moment. We're going to let them clear out, so we
Yes.
definitely want to be able to hear you.
We have, I'm sorry, 158506.
Yes, sir. It's 1585.06.
We'll make sure I'm on the right page.
Go ahead and state your name.
My name is Jose. My wife Paola Fino. We own a lot 61. We purchased this lot about 3 years ago, and we're searching the subdivision homeowners, and we knew how many setback and also the
Frontage.
yeah, the zoning, and not knowing that the when we apply for a construction, that the setback was actually 20, not 15. And also the front of the house was supposed to be 25, not 20, according to the subdivision. All the lots from, I think, for 51 to 69 is supposed to have a setback of 15 and also front back of 20. And also, there's another lot in the same, in the same street. They also request, actually, it requests a similar 20 in the back and also 20 on the front.
Is that your statement,
And
sir?
actually, we actually requesting 5 feet variance from the setback and 5 feet from the front.
Motion to open public hearing?
Public hearing is now open. Any questions by the board members at this time?
What's currently on the side of it? Like, it being, closer to the front, is that gonna be unlevel from the rest of the subdivision? The rest of the houses along that street?
No, the house that we are putting there, we're going to be almost as level as the other houses. It's going to be level to the street. I think this one of the last lots available in that subdivision, which is mine. When I purchased 3 years ago, I went with the home, I read the homeowner association, everything, and we went by for what they're giving us. And when we went and did the plans, and we actually, submitted, not knowing that the setback was 20 and the front was 25. And that's the only reason why we already spent, quite a bit of money on a set of plans. And we already went back to the guy who, designed the house, and he said that, cut back the house is just going to cut back the, the carport, and they have a room upstairs also, it'd be cut.
Sir, are you aware that your property has a drainage servitude on it?
Yes.
If I'm looking at your map right, that's going to be on the 26-foot side, and if this is drawn right, it's 26 foot from the edge of the house to the property line, with the overhang extending further into that area. We can't grant a variance of any way to involve a drainage servitude. Your whole roof and everything has to be clear of that servitude.
Yeah, but we're
You
not
talk about this
granting a
side over
variance, we're
here?
doing the front and the back.
That doesn't have anything to do with the front or the back.
Well, I realize that, but I'm just happening to look at his plans, and I just see there's a 50-foot drainage servitude down this side of the property. And then I look at the position of the house adjacent to that property line, and I see a conflict. I realize it's not in his request, I just realize there's a conflict, because we can't grant a variance, you can't build over a drainage servitude.
How many foot servitude are you seeing?
I see a 50-foot, 25-foot on each side of the property line. Price?
I'm just trying to get on the same page with
It's
you.
right here. And it runs north and south.
On both sides?
On both sides.
Because I don't see it, but on one side.
Before this goes any further, you want to
There's-
make a comment, please, sir?
Yes, sir. There's 26 feet between there and his property line, and we'll make sure that the overhang doesn't encroach into the 25-foot drainage service.
That satisfies me.
Okay.
I didn't see the drainage servitude on that side of the property on this
Well,
map.
it's not really an issue
Right.
for us
Okay.
right now. Let's go ahead and continue on. As Mr. Brad has explained, that we're doing the front and back.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just trying to.
No, I agree with you.
Save on a little time.
I agree with you. That's fine.
I'm going to go ahead and take it to the public.
I did.
Is the plot map with a 15-foot servitude off the rear lot?
I think they're showing this
No, you
plot map as a they're showing a 15-foot building line, whereas it's really in fact
No.
20-foot.
Well, it's saying 25-foot building line.
25-foot building line to the front and
There's only a
There is a
7.5-foot servitude on the back of the lot. Kathy?
Right.
Oh, okay.
7.5
7.5 foot on the back of the lot.
on the back of the lot.
Jose, am I correct? Construction hasn't started on this, right?
No, no.
You're waiting to get this variance to
Yes,
start
the
your
only-
construction.
the
So no
only thing-
construction has been done.
The only thing we have done so far is just filling up the ditch. We put the drainer, and we also spent quite a bit of money, closing the front of the drain.
Okay,
The-
but actually pouring a slab or anything like that,
No,
nothing has been done?
no, have
Okay,
not
thank you.
started,
I just
no.
want to make sure of that. Thank
Yes.
you.
We're just giving them a variance on even number.
All right, I'm going to take it public. Anybody in the audience like to speak in favor of or against these people's request? No one?
Motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Public hearing is now closed. Any further discussion or questions by this board? Mr. Brad, let me ask you a question. Everybody clear what Mr. Brad was talking about what we're deciding on here? Because I know Brad was talking about the front and the back.
Yeah.
Right, that's all we're talking
Everybody understands that's clear.
Yeah, we just want the front and the back of it,
All right.
not the side.
Okay, any further discussions? Any questions?
Nope.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve. It's in harmony with the rest of the subdivision.
I'll second it.
We have a motion on the floor to approve as written. Any oppositions? No opposition? Motion carries. Your variance is granted, sir.
Thank
Thank you, sir.
Next on the agenda tonight is 1586.06, lot number 9, Oak Grove Courtyard for GB Properties, located on the south side of Court Avenue, approximately 50 foot west of Grove Drive. State your name, please, sir.
Greg Gorman, I'm representing the owner of the lot number 9.
Okay, sir, go ahead and state.
I'm requesting a variance for the front of the property and the rear. The front of the property is set right now at a 20-foot setback, and I'm requesting a 15-foot setback. Also requesting, I think the rear, and Lance might have to correct me on this, is at 20-foot setback. There's a rear drainage canal that connects to the lake, which is adjacent to this property, which is actually the overflow for the sewage facility of the subdivision. That rear setback that I would be requesting is, looks to me like,
Uh-oh. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I don't know if you have the plot plan in front of you. I'm not sure exactly. I might have to get with Lance on this rear setback.
If you have a question, sir, now's the time.
Well,
to
I'm
ask.
just a little bit confused. You're saying you were asking for a front and rear setback?
Well-
The only thing I see on this is asking for a rear setback.
Yeah, well, the rear setback,
Just the rear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just rear?
So
I
all
said
we're
that- I might have
discussing
said
is the
that
rear
wrong. I
setback.
apologize.
Okay.
That's,
I want to make sure we know what we're
I
discussing.
jumped on the kind of
Yeah.
prematurely there because what's in front of me, you're, excuse me, you're asking for a variance of 13.7 feet, which is a minimum set, which is on your setback.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any further questions from the board or comments?
Motion open public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Anybody in the audience like to speak in favor of or against this gentleman's request? Now, you are speaking for Mr. Gorman?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No one? Okay, close public hearing,
Motion to
please.
close public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Any further questions or discussions by this board?
Yes, sir, I have a question. I'm looking at the final plat for the Oak Grove Courtyard, and you're using Lot 9, which has a unique shape.
Yes, sir.
And this
Well, and-
document says the minimum rear setback is 20 feet. Unless I'm just not reading this right, I don't see a rear setback line, building line on lots 9 or 10. on this plat?
Yeah, I took a look at it.
So if there's no plat, no building setback line on the plat, why is he here?
Good.
They never show the rear setback on the map itself. Now, if we would have made a copy of the whole map, probably on a section of legend on it, it would have stated that the rear setback is 20 feet on these lots. Very seldom do they put rear setback, put lines on the rear property lines or the side lines. They put it into the legend stating that what the rear setback is.
Okay.
Yeah, 20-foot rear.
It
on
does
number
show a
7.
front setback, but
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I knew there was a reason why you were here.
what is on, if you don't mind me asking, what is on that little pie-shaped lot, if you will, looking at the map to the right of it? I can't make out the number. You got 11, 10, 9, I guess it was 8.
That's the a fenced area for the community sewage facility, if I'm
That's
not
where the
mistaken.
community sewage system
Yes,
is?
sir.
Okay.
It
Treatment
says
plant, yes.
TP for treatment.
Treatment plant.
Oh, okay. That's why I couldn't, it kind of smudged. Sorry about that, guys.
Has nothing to do with anything.
No, I just wanted to know what was next to it, though.
You know,
That's
now-
fine. Any further questions by the board members, because public hearing is closed?
I would make a motion at this time that we accept the variance as written due to the unique shape and location of this lot. I think that to best utilize the lot with its size and shape, and it wouldn't be in any harm to the surrounding neighborhood.
I'll second that.
Because we have a motion to accept as written. We also have a second. Any opposition? No opposition? Okay. Motion carries, sir. Your variance is granted.
Thank you.
Next on the list is the 1587.06 for Harry Robert and Family, LLC, located on the west side of LA 44, approximately 1,100 feet north of Airline Highway. I'm missing paperwork. No, I got this one. Go ahead, sir. State your name.
Yes, good evening. My name is Matthew Newchurch, here tonight on behalf of Lowe's Home Centers at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. I have a brief presentation for you all regarding this issue tonight if Lance can get the machine tuned up. What's that? I gave it to him just now. Sorry.
I'm going to make comment that I'm giving you 5 minutes presentation time.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
It's a brief presentation, so that'll be fine.
And
That'll be fine.
I'll give you 5 minutes of rebuttal if,
Sure.
in fact, you have.
And while they're getting going, I guess I can speak to it a little bit. I guess
Okay.
what we've determined through the course of our due diligence for this project is that there is a maximum building height limitation of 35 feet in Ascension Parish. From what we've gathered in talking to staff and reading through the ordinance, that it's mainly derived from a concern from fire and rescue, mainly as a prohibition for 3-story and above buildings. I think we've hopefully all been in a Lowe's store and recognize that it's a 1-story building. Just so happens that due to the size of my client's facility and their sign elements, more specifically, that's why we're here tonight, to try to get this certainly very clear with everyone.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead. We have any questions until they get this presentation
Sir,
going?
if I'm looking at your elevation properly, I would guess that most of this variance is going to be eat up by the peak on the front facade over the word Lowe's. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's exactly correct. It really,
It's not an occupied space.
no, sir. There's only violations really in 2 locations. The store itself, at the highest point of the masonry, is only about 29.5 feet. The sign element, the peak, as you mentioned, the main Lowe's peak is 50 and change, and then the indoor lumberyard canopy is a little bit higher as well. But as you mentioned, I guess the main, going back to that main concern of the 35-foot height restriction is for the occupant's space, of which you're not going to have in the sign element. Essentially, that's all it is an elevated sign element.
Here you go.
Here we go. I guess just to back up a little bit, hopefully everybody knows where the project is proposed, right here off of Airline Highway and Highway 44, just north of Bayou Narcisse. This is what the site plan looks like as of today. You can see the Lowe's facility in there, the Airline Highway there on the left, and 44 on the right. And this is the overall, I guess, elevation, and it's kind of tough to mention or tough to see from here, but hopefully y'all can see a little bit better on your screens. Is that if you look really from the side, the two side elevations, the one on the second and third one there on the screen, the red line there represents a 35-foot height restriction, and you can see, as I mentioned, the building itself is 28 to 30 feet, so it's underneath the 35. The only 2 points of confusion, so to speak, are the two sign elements that I mentioned. The main lumber canopy peak, the main store peak here, which again is steel and masonry, unoccupied space, and the indoor lumberyard canopy there. I hope everyone recognizes, looking down in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, that the peak is akin to the Nike swoosh and the Coca-Cola red and white. So it's very important for Lowe's to get those things on their stores. So that's why we're here tonight. And really, again, to kind of go back, just as a general view, there's, again, no inhabitable space in these areas that we're talking about. So hopefully that shouldn't be a concern of the board. Additionally to that, it's a one-story building. Even though it's 30 feet tall, it's still only one story. So even fire and rescue won't have to worry about folks 20 feet up. And one thing I guess I'd like to get across too, kind of on the tail end, is that Lowe's and Home Depot, of the two major retailers, for obvious reasons, have the top-of-the-line fire protection systems in their stores. I mean, just considering what they have in there with the paint and the lumber and the flammable materials, that for this particular project, there's going to be a 16-inch water line extension to service the site, multiple hydrants, again, a sprinkler system that's second to none, and also a fire pump for this particular store. So from a fire protection standpoint, I think we're in very, very good shape. Again, we're here a lot per staff's request is to get this finite clarification of the 35-foot rule for the two sign elements. And with that, I guess we'd ask for your approval.
Motion to open public hearing.
Public hearing is now open. Is anyone in the audience tonight like to speak in favor of or against this gentleman's request? No one?
Close public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Obviously, you don't have to have any rebuttal. Do we have anybody that want any comments, any questions right now that need to have concern?
Well,
Anyone?
I think they've addressed most of my concerns because the height problems of buildings, number one, it's not going to be inhabited space. Number two, I think they've gone above and beyond trying to protect themselves from fire.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the variance as written. I think that they have done a good job of satisfying the fire needs and the safety hazards, and I don't think that the peaks will, the two minimum size peaks that they're talking about that's actually going above the guidelines blocks any light or view of anybody. So, and because it's not inhabitable, I recommend that we accept the variance as written.
We've got a motion to accept as written. We've also got a second. Any opposition? No opposition. Motion carries. Variance is granted, sir.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is 1588.06, Lot A1. Lot A1 of Henry Bro Properties for Value Place Real Estate Services, LLC, located on the southwest corner of LA Highway 73 and Seabro Road.
Ready? Good evening. My name is Ryland Percy, and I'm here with Mr. Shannon Webb on behalf of Value Place Hotels. As I believe you know, this is the location right near the Dutchtown interchange where Value Place would like to build a 4-story hotel, and the variance we're seeking is from the 35-foot height limit to 51 feet. As you know, as you're well aware, this height restriction is for fire protection purposes. I have consulted with Mark Stewart, the fire chief in Prairieville, and he, rightly so, has expressed his interest in making sure that the people in this hotel are protected fire-wise. I'd like to point out that I believe the parish accepted bids recently for an appropriate ladder truck for that district. It'll be on order. Mr. Stewart's told me it'll probably take, from the time it actually gets ordered, about 12 months for that ladder truck to get in. In the interim, I have spoken with Butch Browning, police chief here in Gonzales. He's confirmed that they do have cooperative agreements, mutual aid agreements between the various fire districts, and that he does have the appropriate equipment, would be more than willing to respond if called upon, and he would be in a situation like this. He did honestly say, though, each district has to look at their district first. And in the unlikely event that there is another fire in Gonzales at that same time requiring exactly the same equipment, that he would not be able to respond. He estimated, though, that north of 75 to 85% of the time, his equipment is available and would be able to respond. The facility itself will have all of the appropriate piping, sprinkler systems to the maximum available to provide it. If the variance is granted, construction will probably start at the first of the year, probably take 6 months. So if you do have the 12-month time to bring in the fire truck to the district itself, you're not talking about that long a period of time where the coverage would not take place. It's important. They're looking for the variance. This is a go-zone project. If they don't go ahead and get it started, they'll lose a lot of the economic incentive that they have to do it. I'd like to point out that in April, you approved unanimously a similar request for Burnside Plantation, which I believe is 6 stories, and exactly the same issue. And so what we're requesting is exactly the same type of variance that y'all have given recently to another hotel project in exactly the same circumstances, and we feel that the variance is justified based on the special situation, the ordering of the fire truck, everything that's going to be in the hotel, and everything that they're providing to make sure that everybody's covered.
Thank you, sir.
Percy, real quick before you leave, you said that you understood that the ladder truck was approved to be ordered?
Mr. Stewart's here. I think the bids have been let out, but I'm not sure the contract has been signed, that I think the approximate 12 months would start whenever they do it, and I think we could verify that one way or the other.
No is the comment.
The only reason I say that is because I spoke to one of the, I guess, board members of that fire district or whatever, who told me that, or communicated to me that the truck had already been ordered, and that it would be 11, 12 months before it got
I can't represent that at this point.
I understand.
I know the bids have been accepted. I don't know where they are in the process of the contract.
Okay.
Well, there'd be no one better than the chief. Chief, would you like to come up and make comment?
Or maybe the approval of it, maybe she communicated that the approval to order it had been done.
You need me to sign in?
Yes, sir. Because I think this would be better addressed by the chief. I did not mean to cut you off, sir, but I think it'd be better to answer his question by having the chief up here.
The status is the bids were presented to the council at this past Thursday night's meeting. The low bid, the only bid, was accepted by the council. I submitted the required paperwork to Parish Purchasing Monday. Send it down first thing Monday morning. I'm not exactly sure what the time frame is till they complete the contract, and I guess you would officially say the bid is awarded to the vendor who submitted that bid. The ladder truck itself, or the aerial truck, they estimate a 330 to 360 day delivery time from the time the bid is awarded to them. So, I mean, they're not building on it right now, even though they know the council approved their bid Thursday night, until the parish signs appropriate agreements with them, whatever is involved in that. At that time, we'll sit down and do a pre-build conference, go over minute details in all of these apparatus and make sure everything's worked out, what goes where to our satisfaction and their capabilities of doing it. And then at that time, I think is when you'd get into looking at that 340 to 330 to 360 day delivery time.
Yeah, thanks, Chief.
Can you also go into like?
Oh, wait a minute. A whole lot of questions. Go ahead, Brad.
How would this affect the fire rating if that it's built and there's a time frame of 6 months?
Well, I told Rylan earlier, I can't speak to the rating. I can give you my best opinion on it. Property Insurance Association does a rating. It's up to them. In essence, if this building is sprinklered to NFPA 13, and the builders, developers can produce the required documents showing sprinkler piping, inspections, and all this stuff to property insurance when they send their adjusters out there to classify this building and do that, it would be considered a sprinklered building, and in essence gathers its own rating from property insurance. It doesn't fall under our rating. The impact, though, is being, and that's something why I was happy to be here, we need to look at. We look at over 3 stories, but actually 35 foot to the eaves, 3 stories or more is what starts requiring fire departments to have aerial apparatus. Over 5 buildings with that criteria in a response area denotes from property insurance that you would be required to have an aerial apparatus to cover that area. This actually falls within an area where the I'll probably give the old Dutchtown, Lakes at Dutchtown Apartments, which has a number of 3-story buildings in there, which is one of the reasons why we're already in the process of purchasing this ladder truck that we're in the process of doing right now. So this is going to fall generally within that truck's response area already. But if everything falls out correctly, being fully sprinklered, if that is done, which is one thing I would certainly want to see, and I believe they would be doing, is that it would get its own rating from property insurance. So other than being in one more building requiring that aerial truck, which as of right now should fall into place where it will be stationed already, our problem now is not only trying to acquire this equipment to keep up with this type of growth, which we know is coming, is the stations and stuff to house all this equipment at. That's another problem. I don't have a station to put that truck in right now, so we're working on that as well. But you know, property insurance makes final determinations on how ratings are impacted. Sometimes they're very closed-mouthed about even giving us that information because they don't want to put themselves on a limb and say, well, if you buy this piece of equipment because of that building, that'll help your rating. And then when it comes time to figure it out and do the math, it doesn't help you. The first thing I'm going to say is, hey, you told me if I spent $600,000 on that piece of equipment, it would help me with my rating, and it didn't. And so they won't put themselves in that position. But so far, the work we've been doing with them, an aerial truck has basically a response area of 2.5 miles from its housing station by road miles. And that will be housed at our station on 73 between the interstate and 61. And this proposed location of our best mapping should fall within that 2.5 mile. So it would be covered by this truck we're ordering right now.
Chief, I've got some concerns.
I just had a clarification. On terminology, just for clarification, because I mean, I know Mr. Percy, lawyer, you could probably figure this out. Aerial apparatus and a ladder truck are the same?
Same thing,
Because you're
yes.
using 2 different terms.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a truck with an elevated ladder on it.
Thank you. He was using 2 different terms. I want to make sure I had it clear.
Chief, there seems to be some confusion about whether this hotel will affect other people's fire insurance. In other words, people are concerned. My impression is that some homeowners or others have the conception that if this hotel goes in, it could have a negative effect on their fire insurance.
Well, first of all, one thing, property insurance classifies residential and commercial fire insurance premiums completely separate.
Well, I understand.
Although our fire insurance rating, which now is currently a 5, most insurance companies, the way they do residential is they bracket it. You know, from a 3 to a 5, let's say, if the fire department has a rating of a 3 to 5, this is what your fire insurance is going to be. A 1 to a 2 would be this much. A 6 to a 8 would be this much. Those brackets are different from insurance provider to insurance provider. Commercial, though, is not bracketed like residential is. It goes from protection class to protection class. So a move from a 5 to a 4 would be substantial fire insurance savings for a lot of commercial occupancies, whereas residential, some people would never see it because it would stay within that same bracket and it might not change at all. Again, if this is a fully sprinklered building and given that designation by property insurance, once all of that stuff is done and their adjusters look at it, if it's given the denotation as a fully sprinklered building, it doesn't apply in our rating. They get their own separate rating. They don't get the 5 that we have. They may wind up a 7. They may wind up a 2. That's up to property insurance.
Maybe you missed the point I'm trying to make. This building will have no effect on homeowners' fire insurance.
Not that I can tell at this time, but again, only property insurance can say that. But at this time, I don't see where it would negatively impact us because of us trying to be proactive and have that equipment that's going to be required by this building in the process of being ordered to be delivered right now.
If the council happens or the funds happen not to come up for this ladder truck, right now you're saying there's no guarantee there's a ladder truck right now. But if there was no ladder truck, would it affect it?
Well, yeah, there's going to be a ladder truck. The money's there, and the process is moving forward. I see nothing. I can't say it's impossible. I see nothing to deter that right now. They mentioned we have mutual aid agreements signed with neighboring fire departments, and certainly a fire that we feel like would be outside of our capabilities, we're going to call for assistance. And the thing you have to, like Chief Browning said in Gonzales, yes, he has one. He has an agreement with us. But if that truck's tied up, it's priority of the city of Gonzales. I also have agreements with St. George Fire Department and East Baton Rouge Parish. They would send one for me as well, provided it's not tied up with their priority, which would be their area. So without that ladder truck being in that area, but there's other buildings right now, those apartments I spoke of. Yeah, we don't have a ladder truck next time we're rated in that area to cover that area. It's a good chance the fire rating could be impacted. It may not be impacted enough to change rating classes, but we would lose some points from not having that. But again, we're aware of that, and that's why we're working on this. We've been working with property insurance, the council, and all the people with the parish to make sure we have this equipment in place.
I have a series of questions on this line for you. Number one, what would be, from the fire chief's point of view, what would be your recommendations of what this hotel could provide to give the most safety as far as fire from your standpoint? What, other than just sprinkling?
Well, obviously sprinkling to NFPA 13 would be a big thing. Sprinklers save lives, no doubt about it. I would also like to see standpipes, and I believe, Lance maybe could better say than I can, the parish, I believe, is now using the International Building Code, IBC. It hasn't changed much from when it was a Southern Building Code, and in there, generally hotels fall under 3 stories or more required to have standpipes as well. I would like to see standpipes in the stairwells. That way, even without the aerial truck, we're going to go in and fight the fire from inside, same way we do anything. That provides me a water supply at each landing, each floor in a protected stairwell to be able to get water, stretch my hoses, and go in and fight fire. I spoke to them before about some of the issues at the time. Looking at it, there was one entrance or means of egress into the parking lot. I told them, we would need to see another exit entrance coming out from the other side, because if I put apparatus around the other side of the building, this thing's burning, and it really goes sour. I have no way to get my truck back out. I might lose a $300,000 to $700,000 piece of apparatus or more sitting there. And, we would like to see from the other side another entrance exit. Minimum drives of, 20 foot at least in width and that type of stuff, just to allow the safe passage and clear passage of fire apparatus in there.
How many 3-story or above buildings do you currently have within the Prairieville Fire Department?
At least 5 right there in the Dutchtown apartment complex. There are some others, depending on who's measuring, because, again, what we have to look at is 35 foot to the eave or clear 3 stories or higher. So we have probably another 4 to 5 buildings for sure with that 35 foot to the eave. And a couple of those are even residentials, but they fit under that criteria. The other thing we look at is buildings with a fire flow of over 4,000 gallons a minute, and we have a couple of those in our area as well. But 3-story or higher, the 5 in the apartments for sure, and a couple that are going to be pushing it right at that edge.
What number do we reach before we need 2 aerial trucks?
Well, it depends in a response area. You know, we could pack in 15 or 20, as long as it falls within this one truck's response area, and that's going to be handled. As they start moving about throughout our district, they get outside of that 2.5 mile radius, road miles, from the station that truck is housed in, then we may be required to have another one in other places.
And if you had to call in the Gonzales Fire Department or the St. George, what would be their response time, approximately?
I don't really know. I would say from Gonzales, their ladder truck is housed on Ories Roth, right there off of LA 30. To get to there, I mean, safe assumption, you know, I'd have to say 8 minutes, somewhere in that vicinity, 8 to 10. St. George would get on right there at Highland Road, coming from up Perkins Road, probably between 10 to 15, maybe closer to 15, even on the interstate.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, sir.
You said 35 foot to the eve. And I'm going to direct this to both Mr. Percy and you, Chief. What is the ground to eve elevation of this proposed hotel? Because I know that you've measured to the peak.
I defer to Mr. Webb on that. It's 50 foot 8 inches.
To the eve.
That's correct.
So what is it to the peak?
To the peak is 50 foot 8 inches.
What is it to the eve?
To the
is the
eve
question.
is, I want to believe it's 48.
So you've only got a 2 foot. You said 50 foot 8 inches to the peak.
50 foot 8 inches is to the peak of the
And
roof.
it's 48 feet to the eve.
I want to say that's about.
Then that's
right.
this is almost a flat roof.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of the median height is 48. I don't have that.
What's the pitch
plan
of the
with
roof?
me. I do not have that with me currently.
Well, it's safe to say then, from looking at this drawing and the width of this building, that the eve of this thing is not 50 feet.
It's probably 40 feet, give or take a little bit. If
Yeah.
you figure 10 foot per floor,
That's correct.
you know,
I was thinking
it's
10
going to
foot,
be
so it's-
somewhere in that vicinity.
That's my thought. It's something like 40 foot plus or minus.
I don't think they have a real big peak on the roof, though, if I remember correctly, but it's probably close to 40 feet, just to take a guess.
40 feet would probably be approximately, yes.
So then, your ladders, if you're concerned with eve, that means your ladders are going to reach 35 feet. Is that correct?
I made a move a few years ago to start putting 35-foot extension ladders on my truck, just because which you all know, a lot of the residential houses here, 24-foot extension ladder won't reach and put us on the roof. I can't
But it
show
would
up
put
and
you
tell
to a
somebody,
window.
I can't help you because my ladders aren't long enough. A 35-foot extension ladder would probably get me in the windows of the 4th floor on this building. I don't know that for sure. I would have to
Sure.
look at numbers and
Sure.
do all that. But I carry
Odds are.
35-foot ladders on my trucks at this time.
At this time?
Yeah.
35 foot. So right now, what you're really telling me is with a 35-foot ladder, you could rescue people from the windows. More than likely.
Well, I tell you this, the reason I came is not to sway anybody one way or another, but, you know, I can tell you we're going to save people whatever it takes. If I got to climb the wall, if I got to go inside, we're going to do it like we do anywhere else.
I
You know,
understand.
we're going to do to the best of our abilities. I believe that setting a 35-foot extension ladder, we may have to really stretch it, but, you know, looking at this, in all likelihood, if you figure, you know, say 30 inches or so from the floor to seal height, and these windows may not even be that tall, but I would think we can reach them. But I'm just
But that's my
throwing
thought. I
that
just wanted to hear
offhand.
what you had to say
But
about
he's
the
also
subject.
looking at a drawing,
Sure.
too.
Yeah.
So, I understand. I'm not trying to pin you down. I was
Yeah,
just trying to get a
I'm
feel
throwing
for
that
it.
off the cuff, but
We're going to try to get you off the hook here, Chief, here in just
well,
a
that's
minute.
all right. I don't mind answering questions.
Let him spit the hook. And
All right. We have any other questions for the Chief?
No, not the
No,
chief.
no.
Okay.
Chief.
Chief, I'm going to let you sit down.
Thank
I can see you've been up there battling that bad boy for a while, so have a seat.
Have we opened, just for point of record, have we opened the public hearing?
We hadn't opened up public
Okay,
hearing yet.
all right, that's-
Go ahead, Brad.
Basically, how many rooms on the 4th floor, which would basically be above the 35? How many rooms are we talking about?
121 divided by 4 is 30,
About 30 rooms?
approximately.
that okay? Okay, I'm gonna go to the public.
Well, can I
Any-
ask you a couple questions?
Sure.
Of course, I'm probably going to mess up what the terminology he used, but are the sprinkler systems this?
They are.
Okay.
NFPA 13.
Okay. And are you going to have
It's standpipes.
in all the stairwells?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you going to have 2 entrances?
We have arranged for that as well.
And are they going to be at least 20 foot wide?
They will be.
Okay.
One more question. Are these protected stairwells?
Clarify that.
I.e. cinder block construction where they're a standalone structure, like i.e. the fire cannot get into the firewall
To the stairwell.
That's probably not required. It probably had to have a 1 or 2 hour separation, which is generally done by
sheetrock.
Double-sided 5/8 sheetrock.
Yeah,
It has to
temporary
be a certain
separation
time
from
frame.
fire.
So you're going to meet that requirement?
Yes, sir.
Pretty standard requirement for it.
Well, no, I just want to ask the question.
Okay, open up public hearing.
Motion to open public hearing?
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Mr. Brad, you were gonna make a comment and I cut you off? Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and open up to the public. Anybody in the audience tonight like to speak in favor of for or against the gentleman's request? Go ahead and step up to, sign in, step up to the podium and state your name, please.
I'm Kayla Dad. I live on Seaborough Road, and I feel like this is stacked against us. I mean, I know we're going to get commercial. I'm in a residential area. It's just not the fire thing. There is no, y'all have never been around our area at this time. And I know last time you told me traffic, crime, drainage was not y'all's concern. It's a big concern of the people
Well, no,
on
ma'am,
our
that
road.
quote's not quite true.
No,
It's
y'all
always-
told me
it's
y'all
always our concern,
sympathized
but
with
we
me.
cannot
That
put
was
it
not
into our-
y'all's business.
That's
I
it.
have learned terminology going through this that is unbelievable. I'm glad medical isn't this bad.
It's worse.
No, it isn't worse. I can understand that, but I can't understand y'all. Okay, we cannot get out of our street safely at certain times. Now, that's a fact. What are y'all going to do with the parking for 124 rooms? What about the crime, the traffic, the drainage? We've been fighting drainage for 2 years. It still isn't any better than it was 2 years ago. And do we have any recourse that if it drops our value of my property and it changes my insurance? Because I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to be a happy camper. I'm going to get commercial. I've got commercial on those areas. I know road construction's going to be coming. I'm just very frustrated because we're caught between Bluff Road and 73. You call the sheriff, it's not their job. You call this one, you refer to somebody else. I have gotten the runaround from everybody in City Parish. I don't know whether we should consolidate and make a town. We love the area. And I have nothing against this. It's commercial. I'm Mr. Simpson's best customer, truly. And I know it's coming. But I just think this little road can't handle a 124-room hotel on a very small area. We have 2 churches at the end of the road. Now, I'm just telling you my concerns, right or wrong. And I'm going to tell you, we're very frustrated. I didn't even know we had a meeting tonight. I had to come from work. I had a patient tell me that this was going on. And I just feel like y'all have to know. And, I mean, it's right or wrong. It's a concern of all of the citizens on that road. And, y'all might not be the one to bring this to. I don't know. But I'm at my loose ends with who to go to for what anymore.
Let me verify something real quick. We did send out the letters.
No, I had not gotten a letter.
How far down the road does she live?
She lives almost on the
I'm on Seaborough Road, 3629.
Just
yeah.
adjacent property owners.
Yeah, just adjacent property owners got The letter.
Yeah. Oh, no, I haven't got a letter, no.
Okay,
That's the
thank-
churches. The
Ma'am?
church, Dutchtown Baptist Church is
Oh,
one
okay.
of them thing, and then Tammy and them gave their land to another heritage church across the street from Dutchtown Baptist, and then the Bros on the corner. That would be the most directly involved in that area.
That's correct.
I'm further down the road.
Yeah, you're almost on.
I'm almost on Bluff. And that's a whole nother ballgame there. But I
Thank you,
mean,
ma'am.
I just, we're very frustrated. I can't get out my driveway as it is. And I tell you what, I want to drive with him when he comes from Gonzales, because I run an office in Gonzales one day a week. It takes me 20 minutes at noontime to get to Seabrook.
Thank you, ma'am. 3 minutes is up.
Okay, I'm just, and I know I'm not going to do any good, but I just let you know.
Thank you, ma'am.
Vic? Vic
I'm Vic Burke. It seems like deja vu. We just went through this, and it seems like now they're actually proposing a little higher than they were last time. I don't know if they changed their height, but I mean, I don't know. I live on Seabrook Road. I'm about midway. I'm two properties. I would be two properties sandwiched between this new construction. Right now, and this is how I explain to people, because a lot of people, when I say I live on Seabrook Road, they don't know exactly where that's at. And I tell them you're coming from New Orleans or Baton Rouge. Well, when you exit the Prairieville-Geismar exit from Gonzales, you would take a left, take your first right. It's the road you use to cut through to go from 73 to the Bluff. And everybody's like, oh, I pass there all the time. I'm like, I understand. Don't know what the name of the road is, but I pass there all the time. Our road is right now it has way more traffic than it can support. I'm thinking with 124 rooms, and they're talking about doing two entrances. Are both entrances going to be to 73, or is one of the entrances going to actually be to Seabrook Road? Is it going to be putting more traffic, more burden on Seabrook Road? I mean, it's just a two-lane road with no shoulder right now, and it's the only cut through from 73 to the Bluff, unless you go to 74. So that's it. We're it. So my major concern, now that y'all spoke about fire and everything, my major concern is about traffic flow. I mean, can our small road support something like this on the corner of it? What is the, do they have an estimated amount of traffic that'll service this hotel? And will they be cutting through Seabrook to hit the Bluff to catch around the back? It's a very small road, and that's my major concern. I don't know if anybody can answer any of those questions, but I mean, that's my major concern.
Well, I have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Do you feel like the residents of this hotel would be using Seabrook Road to go to Bluff Road?
Yes. I don't see any reason why. I mean, it would be.
Why would the residents of this, which typically are going to be people, in my opinion, tourists or people passing through on the interstate and things like that, why would you feel, just so I can get a feel and understand your concern, okay?
Yes, sir.
Why would you feel that the residents of this hotel would be going in that direction to Seabrook Road?
Well, one of the comments y'all made last time is y'all said, I see a reason that we ought to have this hotel because the plants are requesting that we need some rooms and stuff like that. So, I don't know who said that last time. They kind of brought it up.
I wouldn't happen here, but go ahead.
Yes, sir. But the thing is that if that's the case, if that's one of the cases, which was brought up by this board, then obviously they would be familiar with the road system, and it would be the quickest way back to the Bluff, and which would keep them from having to go down 73 and hit 74 to the plants. They can actually go down Seabrook Road, hit the Bluff, and then hit 74. So yes, I would think that it would put some traffic burden back on Seabrook Road. Just with that.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll take any question.
Does anybody have a question for this gentleman? If not, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Appreciate it. step to the podium, sir, and state your name.
Yes, my name is Victor Brooks Sr. I'm his dad. As it turns out, whether the traffic goes down Seabro Road or not is not very important. The fact is we can't get out of Seabro Road now. And we're adding at least 120 cars every night. Am I to understand that y'all have nothing to do with traffic?
Well, to be honest with you, sir, part of our responsibility is showing hardship. You know, we're here for hardship, all right?
Well, we have one.
And in our charter, we are not really. We have concerns about traffic. We have concerns about fire hazards, and we are highly concerned with the public safety. Okay, this does come into play in our thoughts, but we can't personally address that issue on these particular items.
Who can?
Well, that would be the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay, then I have no further
And the
business
Parish
with
Council.
you.
Matter of fact, you need to, I'm not going to say, I take that back. It would be advised that you talk to your councilman.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
He's sitting right over there.
See how I flushed that one?
George Valentine. First, congratulations to the Rear Admiral. Even though I didn't get invited to, 157 people did get invited to Washington, D.C.
Yeah,
I wasn't on the list.
he was quite particular who showed up.
Yes, he was. This particular development, or the hotel, I mean, is a concern to me as a citizen. For economic development, naturally, I'm not against economic development. Seabro Road has been okayed for a red light. We are in the process of redesigning, the state is, DOTD has approved a project, and they will come with dual lanes off of the interstate, dual lanes onto the interstate. They will revise all of the 73, 621, and Seabro Road will get a red light, a traffic light, in that construction. Now, that construction probably won't take place for at least 2 more years. It is with the architects, I mean, at the engineers at the present time. In fact, the Parish Council passed an okay to have some additional engineering design for the traffic lights the last meeting, $18,000, I think it was, we passed extra. It is a concern, though, at Seabro Road, and I have heard you guys and Ms. Kathy talk about the harmonious area. We don't have any 4-story buildings in that area at the present time. I'm not going to tell you that there won't be any. We have a large tract of land across the street. More than likely, somebody else will be coming for that situation. So the traffic problem has been addressed. Is it going to be addressed tomorrow? No. It's going to take a while. Representative Eddie Lambert was instrumental in being able to get that traffic light put into this project. That's the first phase. The second phase is enlargement of 621 at 73, and the third phase is to 3-lane 621 down probably all the way to Hutch's Hardware. So, and a new bridge at that elementary school. But that's what's, to bring you up to date, that's what's being done about the traffic situation. I'm going to tell you, Seabro Road is a very narrow road. I traveled a lot. There's a lot of traffic on it. There is a lot of cut-throughs that go through, just like Vic Jr. talked about, going to Allied and Honeywell and PCS Nitrogen and the plants back that way. People have come to know that. Whether they're going to come from this development to do that, I can't say. I just don't know.
You said the red light was approved.
Yes, sir, it is. Whether it's going to be put in 6 months from now or a year from now, it has been approved and is in the design.
Okay, thank
What
you.
about as far as like widening? I mean, everybody knows you pass an 18-wheeler down that road, you better close your eyes and hope you make it on the side.
You talking about Seabro? Seabro Road has been talked, I've talked to several residents. Nobody really is wanting to widen Seabro Road.
Well, one of the main concerns is the curve right there at this hotel.
Right.
You know, which is very, you know, it's a sharp turn, and one, you going to hit the metal sign that's hanging into the road, or are you just going to fall in the ditch on both sides?
Some of the things that's taking place is double line. We don't pass on that road anymore. We just put a load restriction on it, supposedly. We have, to be very honest with you, very difficult to enforce it. You know, when we've had numerous trucks going back and forth to this dump that's down on the bluff that we've had a lot of problems with. And the road restriction, a load has been put on it, but it's very difficult to enforce because they pass through, and of course they're gone by the time the sheriff arrives, if he does. So it's difficult. But as far as widening, no, Mr. Walker, it has not gone to a widening aspect. I will entertain it as a councilman, but I think the majority of people on that road really do not want to widen that road.
Are there going to be turn
I think it would be
lanes?
safer if it would be widened, to be honest with you.
Are there turn lanes planned for that intersection?
There's a turn lane already that's already in place that turns right on Highway 73. There will be some configuration done naturally when the light would be there. I'm sure it would be widened a little bit there because it is a little rough right now.
While we're on the topic of that
Yes, sir.
intersection,
Sure.
is anybody going to talk to the McDonald's and about no right turn or no left turn from the other side? You know,
Well,
'cause
well,
I
that-
know I've seen the hits.
And it's right now, it's the most accident-prone corner in this parish. That's it right there. I mean, when I came to this meeting tonight, the traffic was backed up past 73, down 74, past Old Mill, because there was an accident there. I'm not going to lie to you. It is the most dangerous and accident-prone intersection. The red light the traffic light that will go there will actually service coming out of McDonald's also.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anyone else in the audience like to speak in favor or against these gentlemen's request? No one? Close public hearing, please.
So moved.
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Any further discussion by the board? Mr. Brad, you went yes
Well,
first.
One of my questions is, would there be any possibility for y'all to possibly, if it's curb and gutter on that side, widen that curve, so that if you are doing two entrances off of Seabro, and that still wasn't clarified if that is the case, two entrances off of Seabro, can you widen that part with what land you'll have on that side? So that there, so it's not a...
You're directing this question to... Okay.
I'll have to defer that to my civil engineer.
Okay.
Is he here? Promise we won't beat you like the chief.
That's the chairman's problem.
Wayne Sledge, UW Engineering. Like I said earlier, money solves all kinds of problems. I think looking at the topographic map we have, we could, with permission of the client, we could pipe the ditch, make shoulders. We could clean up that inside of the arc and make it a whole lot safer than it is now. Right now, there's a couple of culverts, but basically it's an open ditch scenario. With their money, we can flatten it out, make no holes in the ground. We can actually make it where people would have a shoulder, which they don't have now, and I would think that would actually benefit their layout and obviously help the parish. That would be on the inside, and that's where the problem is always going to occur as you go towards Highway 73. So yes, they have room, and their site plan will allow that.
Would y'all be willing to do that? I know, can we put that stipulation in there if we do make a motion for road improvement?
Yes. Yes, you can.
If they agree to do it.
Yeah.
I might add, that's basically when they added the right turn lane at the intersection, that's what they did. They piped the ditch, added the lane, and made it flat. So it would just simply be the same scenario as you go toward Bluff Road.
Was there ever any discussion or thought about putting one of the entrances onto 73 versus both on Seabro?
I'm sorry, ma'am, say that again.
Was there ever any consideration about putting one of the entrances directly onto
No, ma'am.
73?
Both of them will be off Seabro.
I don't think there's enough space to put one.
Brad, may I ask you a question? This is what we're talking about. You had talked about.
Here's the road, the curve in question.
Well,
Okay.
if I'm not intruding while they're looking at that, I had just one quick question. The fire chief brought up something about the access to the rear of the building, the backside of the building. Is that that's going to happen some kind of way that he'll be able to?
Yes, it will be.
Okay, all right, thank you.
But y'all do own all the land to 73. There's no pie there that somebody else could come in.
No, ma'am, we do not own land up to 73.
Okay. There is a lot there that somebody could.
There will be
potentially come in
approximately
and
1.5
develop?
acres
Okay.
that the landowner wants to keep vacant.
Okay.
Okay, any further questions or discussions?
You said there is a lot in the front. Do y'all butt all the way up to the church? Or are y'all in between that
Not
lot and
that
the
I
lot
recall.
before the church?
This is the pie. That's there.
Yeah.
That theoretically somebody else could come in and develop.
So both of your access roads are coming on the Seab Road toward the back.
Yes, sir.
No possibility of a Mission Street entrance. Or
Sorry, I'm
exit.
not familiar with.
He doesn't know Mission Street.
Okay, any further questions or discussions at this time? Any,
Well, I just commented that I think that the parish councilman addressed the issue of having the red light there. In my mind, having the red light there, improving that right turn lane a little bit, as he said, would probably happen because it's a little rough. Terminology was it was a little rough, and improving that will happen. Okay, I personally don't see this as elevating the traffic on Seabrook Road getting to those plants because most of them are going to go down 73 all the way to the River Road or to 74. But that's my personal belief right there. The other piece of that is that the parish councilman stated that the residents don't want to widen the road. If they're not concerned enough about the safety to possibly widen the road a little bit, okay, then that's kind of a double-edged sword, you might say. I don't understand that philosophy, but I just don't see where the traffic is going to be a situation or problem here.
But too, you got to find out why residents don't want to ride in the road. There's a difference in doing it for free and then value of the land to be able to widen that road. But the other thing is, you're talking about congestion at the intersection, which is right now the congested part. I mean, you back up, turn lane is hell, but it still backs up to the church.
get your mic,
But-
please.
It still backs up to the church.
And I think the red light addressed that, will address that.
Yeah, but you're putting the cart before the horse. I mean, why we have to build a hotel before the red light? Why not the red light before the hotel?
So, I'm sorry, sir.
No, just a
Go-
little
go
rebuttal.
ahead.
I was just pointing out, with due respect to the councilman, and I think as Mr. Cox has said, when you look at the things that can go in there without a variance, whether it's a McDonald's or whatever, a shopping center, whatever, I would suggest that they're going to put more traffic onto both of those roads than a hotel where you have normally a one-night stay, and as he said, right back onto the interstate. So many uses can go to that without asking a variance that would do much more than this. This is probably the least intrusive traffic-wise of the things that could possibly go in there.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a motion on the floor?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion that this be approved as written with the stipulation that the developer appears to have agreed to pipe and do the ditch thing to relieve some of the sharpness there in the curve. And this is a needful thing for the area. It's a commercial area. We're going to have this sooner or later somewhere. The traffic light question is obviously, it'd be nice if it happened first, but we all know that most times development is what drives the traffic development. I can't turn that around. So my motion is to be approved with the stipulation about the piping of the ditch and the curve area.
Second.
We have a second?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. LeBlanc seconded. We have a motion on the floor to accept as written with stipulation of the what was stated about the curve, the piping and curve, and is that, am I following it? And that's it?
Entrances as well?
Well, that's going to go back to the two entrances.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Are you stipulating that they?
Well, I think they agreed to
Okay.
that with the fire chief and requires
Yes,
the two
sir.
entrances, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good catch, Kathy.
Okay. Any opposition? We have one. Mr. Brad?
No, not as long as they're going to do everything the fire
And
department asks.
everybody's, so we have one opposition.
I'm not opposing, but I do have, I guess it's too late to say anything about the motion, but
Yes.
I would like it worded in there that it is being consistent with what we've done in the past with this other type structures.
But that's fine.
That's okay.
That's fine. Okay, we have a motion and a second. We have one opposition. Motion carries. Variance is granted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda tonight is 1589.06, James and Patricia Freeman, located on the west side of Thomasy Road, approximately 1,300 feet south of Gold Place Road. You signed in, sir?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Jim Freeman, my wife Patricia. We are here on behalf of Pat's aunt, Phyllis Henning. She is an 82-year-old widow with failing eyesight, has macular degeneration. She's still reasonably functional as a single adult. She's a widow, but she's fast approaching the point in her life where she needs a little bit of assistance. We have 40 acres of property that we'd love to share with this dear sweet lady. On page 1, you can see the vicinity map of where we're located at, in case anybody doesn't know where Thomasy Road is. Thomasy Road dead ends into our property. Second page shows you the basic layout of what we've done with the property. It was completely unimproved in the year 2000 when we bought it, and we've left it mostly that way. Page 3 will show you just about all the development that we've done to it. In the trailer site that we're proposing to put our aunt in is the former trailer site that we used when we were building our home. There's the septic system is still there, and everything's in place, water, everything except for the electricity. And we would very much like to bring this lady to a nice place to live for her later years and help her out as long as we can until she has to go into a retirement home. And that's basically what we'd like to do.
Let's go ahead and open public hearing, please.
So moved.
Kathy, Kathy, I need a second.
Oh, I second it. Slip at the wheel.
Public hearing is now open. We have any questions that we need to want to address these individuals? Okay. We'll go take it public then. Anyone in the audience like to speak for or against these people's request? We got two back here in the back saying no.
I move to close public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Any further questions by this board?
I move that we accept this variance as written. It's a family health situation. We've approved these in the past, and 40 acres, I think they've got more than enough room not to impact negatively the community.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, do we have a motion on the floor to accept as written? Do we have any opposition? No opposition? So moved. Variance is granted.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is 1590.06 for Ascension Parish School Board, located on the east side of LA Highway 73, approximately 600 feet north of LA Highway 74.
Yes, good evening. Jeff Parnell, Ascension Parish School Board, here to request a variance on the south end of our Dutchtown primary campus to stay within inside or get close to the property line, basically. Within 2 to 3 feet. We have a recommendation to the state fire marshal under review right now, currently reviewing that option, and that'll tell us exactly how far from the property line it will be. But right now, our estimation is that it's going to be in between 2 to 3 feet from the property line.
So, but you have on your variance request is 4 foot.
Right.
Okay, we're in agreement with that. I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
But you know, what's before us is what we have to judge
Okay,
on.
that's fine.
And you're requesting a 4-foot variance.
Right.
Okay.
That's fine. We can work with the fire marshal on that.
And I'm sure that won't be a problem.
Okay.
But again, I have to go with what is written on
Understand.
before us tonight.
Understand.
Okay, if you make a change on me, we have to go back through the process. It's a
Okay.
crazy process, but
No.
we don't want to do that, okay?
4 foot's fine. We'll
Okay.
work with the fire marshal there.
Open public hearing, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions from any board member? Any discussion? I'm going to go public. Anyone in the audience like to speak for or against this request? We got no in the back again.
Close the public hearing.
Close public hearing, please.
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Any further discussion by the board? Any comments?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion this be approved. Our public schools are overcrowded, and this will help alleviate that situation down there just a little bit.
Second that.
We have a motion to accept as written. Any opposition? No opposition? So be it. Variance is granted, sir. Moving on to the agenda is 1591.06, Lot 200A at Bayou Trace Estates. No, I didn't read that. Okay. It's located on the south side of Bayou Trace, approximately 10,700 feet, 2.2 miles west of Highway 22. Terrace.
Not Trace.
Terrace.
I'm bad with
That's
names.
all right.
We're correcting him a lot tonight.
He's doing the best he can.
Yeah, I'm lucky they haven't put a shot collar on me tonight. Go ahead, state your name, sir.
Hi, I'm Grover Alston. We're at 13722 Bayou Terrace Boulevard on the southeast part of Ascension Parish. Patricia, my wife, is here with me. We're about trying to build a storage room on the lot across the road from our house. We own the diversion canal, and we also own the lot across the road, and we're trying to build a 24 by 24 storage room. In the process of getting the permits issued and getting the foundation dug and inspected, we found out from the Civic Association that we hadn't placed the foundation far enough away from the center of the road, so we're asking for a 10-foot variance. With that variance, it will allow us not to have to tear out all the concrete that has been poured and to go ahead and move the building back. It will actually be, I think, 48 feet from the center of the road. But we're asking for a 10-foot variance.
Let's go ahead and open up public hearing, please.
So moved.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Any discussion or question?
Yeah, I have a question for Lance, if you don't mind. No.
Lance says no.
Lance shaking his head no, and I'm fixing to put you on the hot seat again. If I'm, according to what I'm looking at in these documents right here, okay, from Bayou Terrace, it's 15 feet back before it says a concrete driveway, so is that part of it not going to be covered? Is that correct? Is there a part of this that you're asking for is not going to be covered?
From what I can understand, yes, sir, that's
Okay,
correct.
and what, does he need a variance if it's not going to be covered? I thought that he didn't have to
No,
have it.
part of it would be covered. I understand your question, yes. It would be covered. I think what happened is that what they stated earlier, they built it, and the homeowners association came by and said that they were a little too close. And with that being stated, I think they were actually, if I'm not mistaken, 38 feet. So what they're doing is they're actually moving it further back 10 more feet. So the concrete's already there, but they're not going to start the building 10 feet
Would
further
the
back.
covered building be in the guidelines of needing a variance if the driveway was not there?
Yes, sir.
The covered building is needing a variance?
Yes, sir,
For the
that's
covered
correct.
part?
That's correct.
Okay, that's my question.
Yes, sir.
Lance,
Okay.
on this thing that's, stamped, which I'm assuming stamped by all y'all, okay, on it's written variance granted for 45-foot setback on 9/6. This was already granted a setback?
That was the Civic Association. They got that signed by the Civic Association. That is no one with the parish. That is with their homeowners association.
Okay.
Which doesn't apply to us.
Okay.
That's correct. They're just stating that they went that route.
I wasn't here for
and
that.
They're simply stating they don't raise objection to it. They have no right of approval on behalf of the parish.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and go public. Anyone in the audience tonight would like to speak in favor, for, or against these people's request? No one?
Motion to close public hearing?
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Any further questions by the board? Or any concerns or questions?
No, I've been out in this subdivision a number of times, and there are a lot of homes that have storage buildings across the street. I think this is very conducive to the rest of the neighborhood, and I would like to move that we approve it.
I'll second that.
That's a good motion. They went backwards on me.
You're trying to cut down on time, huh? Just get to the point, huh?
We have a motion and a second to approve as written. Any opposition? No opposition? So moved. Variance is granted.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, and can I tell y'all that Lance and June are very helpful in that office.
Are you sure it was just Miss June, right?
I was trying to say. Oh, that was cold. Remember, this is on TV, guys. On the agenda tonight is 1592.06, Lot 39, Dutchtown Villas subdivision for a colonial investment located on the west side of Dutchtown Villa Drive, approximately 2,100 feet south of L.A. Highway 74.
Oh,
gotcha. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, we don't have no one here from Colonial Investment LLC. Apparently not.
Will it do any good to move it to the end, or should we just go ahead and act? We're almost at the end of the meeting.
Well, we're at the end now. I still
So
have.
I don't think it would, I mean,
right.
I'm just trying to be fair, because we did postpone one already tonight.
We have the first one on the agenda, which is
Right.
1580.06.
So I'm just trying to be fair, James, that, you know,
Okay.
but we're at the end of the meeting now, so I don't think it's
I'll make
unfair
a
to-
suggestion that we do. We'll make a suggestion that we do.
Either that or we postpone it till next month.
Postpone it to next month.
No.
Or we can act on it.
No, I think the public hearing has been advertised, so there are people here, so we need to at least open the
Okay,
public hearing.
and that's it. We will, let's go ahead and act upon it.
I
You
feel
don't
like
have
we
to-
should
You can defer your decision to next month, but you've advertised for the public hearing. You need to open the public hearing and allow those here to address the issue. You
Okay.
can defer your action till next month.
Okay, and let me, just for legal reasons, if we, obviously, we have the public hearing because the people are here to speak about it, okay? And we defer until next month our decision. When we come back next month, are we going to open it up to the builder or whatever, or the?
Yes, yes.
We have to do that?
Yes.
Even though the public hearing is done?
Right.
Couldn't you leave it open?
You can leave the public hearing open.
Oh, okay, so we wouldn't close the public hearing if we decide to
You're
defer
gonna open
it?
it, right. You're gonna
So they
open
would
it
have a rebuttal
they
in that
don't-
case?
Right, so the information would already, so they're here tonight to speak.
I understand, I'm just trying to make sure that if next month the builder says something that they want to
We can also
rebuttal.
act on it, though.
Yeah,
Okay.
like,
We can
also
and in the
act.
past,
He can
we've tended to,
reapply.
if someone's not here to represent something, we've acted on it.
We've acted upon it.
Right.
That's why I said
I
you
know.
can act upon
You
it.
can act tonight, yes. I
Right.
didn't say you couldn't, but if
Okay.
you didn't want
Motion
to.
to open public hearing?
Second.
Public hearing now open. As sign in and approach the podium, state your name. And these are the two that I thought were back there trying to get away with stuff.
Get away with what?
You know, they said no comments. They kept going.
Come speak for them, I guess.
My name is Ashley. This is Libby. We represent the Homeowners Association for Dutchtown Villas. I guess this was the first that I had heard anything of it when I saw the sign up, so we're not actually sure of what it is they're asking for. We just want to make sure that it's in accordance with our restrictions for the neighborhood. Nobody's contacted us in any way, shape, or form.
I'll address that. We do not enforce subdivision restrictions. This is for variance for the parish regulations.
Okay.
I mean, do you have a copy of the information?
Not as far as what they're asking for. Now, we do have like a square footage thing, and I just didn't know if they were going to go above their square footage requirement, or if they were trying to go, onto a zero lot line, how that was going to fit as far as like the aestheticness of our neighborhood. If it was going to come too close to the road, too far back, those things. 'Cause it's right next to a pond in our neighborhood, so it would affect some of the public property that we own. We would be the neighbor to the home, so.
Is there a house on 38? Lot 38?
39.
We're talking about 39. I'm just wondering if there's a house on 38 or 40.
No idea.
Because you're talking about
okay.
coming forward.
40 is a lot that's there, but there's not actually room for a house. So from what I'm understanding, that's never been sold.
What about lot 38?
There is a
You
house.
close
There
it
is
for
a house being built. Well, actually, it's still in construction on 38, yes, but it's not actually, it doesn't have a residence yet. A
But they-
resident.
Just for clarification, what they're asking for is to bring the house 5.9 feet closer towards the road.
Okay.
Than what the building setback says in the ordinance.
Okay.
So they're asking us to give them a variance to go over that setback line by 5.9 feet.
But it's on the T turnaround.
That's right. It's on the T, so it's really on. It's not the front, I guess you could. It is the front, but since the road follows that T turnaround, it would be on the, I guess on the left-hand side of the lot, because it follows the road.
So I guess it sounds like to us is that it would probably stick out slightly from the rest of the homes. And we kind of have considering the fact that it would be at the very end, a lot of us do travel down there as far as going to see the pond. We wouldn't like to have anything that's going to stick out any further than the rest of the homes. The rest of the houses on that stretch on the side of the street are in accordance. They do all line up.
Well, I think it's lining up with the straight part, but what happens is they're going into the turn lane part. There's a 25-foot that follows that whole turn, and what they're trying to do is come into the turn lane but not go the 25-foot like the rest of the street. Like they won't come in 25 foot from the rest of the street. If Lance can show you, he can kind of show you what we're talking about.
Now, as it was stated, you remember, we have nothing to do with your homeowners association, okay? So it's for you to determine.
And a lot of times this is a common problem with turnarounds.
That sounds fine. I think our main concern was just the aestheticness, making sure that everything stays looking right.
oddity
So
of
it sounds okay to us. Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Anyone else in the audience like to speak in favor, for, or against?
Motion closed public hearing.
A public hearing is now closed.
I think we ought to act on it. It's like any other
Yeah.
T turnaround.
I mean,
we've
I
done before.
be honest with you, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't act upon this.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that this be denied for lack of representation, if for no other reason.
I don't think we should deny it, as far as for them not being here. We've approved T turnarounds nonstop in subdivisions
And a
throughout
lot
the
of
parish
times, yeah.
because of the T turnaround. I don't.
Well, there's a motion.
Well, his is
I-
in the form of a motion that if no one seconds that motion, that motion
dies.
dies, and then if you want further discussion, we can go ahead.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'll tell you, I'm going to second the motion because I have a very difficult time approving something that someone didn't feel good enough about sending representation up here to explain this and to show me why, it's necessary or not necessary or the ins and outs or to answer our questions. And I have a very tough time with that, so I'm going to second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to deny the variance request as written. Any opposition?
Opposed.
We have one opposition.
I'm opposed.
Okay, we have two oppositions.
I'm yay, because I agree
Okay.
that if you really wanted it, you would come and at least
Okay.
answer some questions.
That's 3-2. 3-2. Motion carries. Variance is denied. on the agenda is 1593.06, Lot 2A1 and 2A2 for Chip Brignar property for Mark Springs.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, sir.
Let me sign in.
Are you Mark Springs?
Yeah. James Falgu, representing Mark Springs on this following variance request. We're trying to get clear title on the property. You can see where the car wash was built onto the other lot, and my client is trying to purchase the concrete building, and he can't because there's not clear title on the property.
Open public hearing, please.
I move.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Any questions or discussion? No one?
So the existing owner currently owns the concrete building and the car wash, and you're just trying to move the line?
Yeah, we're moving the line.
So
If it was zoned,
You can purchase separately the concrete building?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
They just opened up a
What is-
Subway plus submarine shop and all that up
In the
there.
concrete building?
Yeah, it's a concrete building and a car wash. There's a little portable trailer in the back, but that's going to be moved. It's temporary. It's not a permanent structure.
Because the variance we're giving, we're also giving an additional 6,700 square foot for that current building, Lance?
That would be square footage, not of the building, square footage of the lot.
That's square footage of the lot?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If it was zoned, if it was for residential, all we would need was, I think, the 50-foot on the front. But since it is zoned, it is for commercial use. It would have had to been 90.
Any further questions or comments? Anyone? Do we have a motion on the floor?
Can we close public?
Motion to close public hearing?
Thought we closed. Public hearing is now closed. Any motion?
I'll make a motion to approve. It's in the harmony of the current subdivision. We're just trying to clear up a title. Everything's existing already, so there's not much.
I'll second that.
changes we make.
We have a motion on the floor to accept as written. We also have a second. Any opposition? No opposition? Motion carries. A variance is granted. Before we adjourn tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have one more to do. This was moved back to the back again. This is 1580.06. That is for Lot 79, Meadow Ridge subdivision for Wheat Construction Company, located on the west side of Karen Drive, approximately 170 feet south of Meadow Ridge Avenue.
I move that we open public comment.
Second.
Public comment period is now open.
I move we close.
And I move that no representation, no one here to explain, that we reject,
I'm sorry, ma'am.
that we deny this variance.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I said the slab's poured too, so y'all got a second reason.
The slab's already
I'll
poured on?
second that.
I'll second that.
We have a motion to deny as written. We also have a second. Any opposition? No opposition? Motion carried.
Lance, it's looking like he's fixing to
I just
move.
have a comment. The y'all's decision is final. So you're thinking that they can come back for any particular reason on this particular one, they can't. They can change the request. I don't know how they change the request if the concrete's there.
They can add another section to it.
Okay,
It's
so
fine.
I just want to let you know.
They can add a
So-
foot, they can take away a foot, they can change it some kind of way.
All right, but your decision's final.
Now, I just, is there 30 seconds for discussion or something? Can we do that, attorney?
Well,
Can we have
It's
a-
already acted. It's
I've
already
already
voted on.
It's a
We've
done
already
deal.
acted.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a discussion before we adjourn. Can we have is there a new business section or?
It's not on the agenda, but you
It's
can.
not
you
on the
can-
agenda, but we can make it.
Yeah, you're not taking any action if you just want to discuss.
No, I
something.
just want to discuss, I just want to
that's
discuss,
fine.
is there, in point of discussion, and if we have to have a motion, I'll make a motion that we have new business. Just real quick, on these, because these issues tend to keep coming up where there's no representation up here. If there's, and this is just discussion, talking, if there's some way we could look into putting something into effect, either whether it's by just asking Lance to notify these people when they apply that, hey, if you're not going to be able to be there, I suggest you pull it from the agenda, possibly because of what you just said, because our decision is permanent, and because of what we've kind of been doing here.
I would think
Lance
that
will do that.
I would think that since we've been kind of standardized on our decisions and kind of
Right.
uniform on our decisions, Lance would be giving advice on things before he comes and brings them up here.
Well, what's happening is that these people are notified. I mean, they get the same mail out that everyone else does, and the property's posted. So I'm not going to say I don't know what happened. I mean, something may have happened that we have no idea what's going on. So that's the only thing.
They could contact your office and request that these be withdrawn,
Or-
correct, or no?
I don't know the whole circumstance of what's going on. I
No,
mean,
what
I
I'm
don't.
asking, can
They
they
could do that,
contact
yeah.
you and say that they need to withdraw the request for that night?
Yes.
Even if, Kathy, expand on that, even if we had something, maybe an asterisk bullet put on their application, something that they have to read when they fill it out, saying something to the effect
Well,
of, if you can't be
A
there
letter
that
is
night.
sent. A letter is sent to the
I
date and
understand.
time that this takes place.
I understand, James, but looking at it on their side, if they had a way, that something that said, hey, if you can't be present, we suggest that you at least let us notify us, then we may be more lenient to table this and not vote until next month. You see what I'm saying? But if they're not going to at least let us know why they're not here or that they're not going to be here, then we
Well,
don't, you know.
I'm going to kind of back up Brad here. Now, the voting tonight is setting a precedent.
I understand, but if we set a precedent that says that if they notify us or notify Lance that day and he says, hey, y'all, this particular item, they have said
And
they
that
cannot
has
be there.
that has happened in the past,
And then we
it
would-
has
then we
it
might be
has
lenient to
taken
table it
place.
till the next month is all
And
I'm
that's
saying.
we do that.
You could always publicize Lance's cell phone in case they can't make it on the way up here. They can call Lance's cell phone number.
But we pretty much
This is a
denied
live broadcast. We
every
could do that right
request
now.
Right.
When the requestor does not see fit to come
And I
forward
understand that.
and explain their request.
But we have an option to table it and keep it open the next month, as the attorney
Correct.
said, and I would be more lenient to do that if
Yes.
someone notified Lance that said, hey,
Yes.
I can't be there, I had an accident, there's no way I can get there.
Correct.
You know, I would be more lenient to table it, is
Correct.
all I'm saying on that, Kathy. So,
Correct.
anyway, just, I wanted to bring that up for a conversation.
Well, and technically, they can table it themselves, can't they, Lance? If they would call, they say, well, look, I can't do it this month. Can you put
It
it on
wouldn't be
next
a
month?
table, it'd just be a taken off, and we would take the item off the agenda.
And y'all would re-add it. And they'd
Yeah,
pay
we would
their
have to
additional
re-go through
fee
the
and
whole
all.
thing, that's correct. Yes.
Any further discussion?
Did I move we adjourn?
Okay. We're now adjourned.